This is a very bad situation. At the time, little did I know the importance of meeting Hap Wilson by sheer luck at that particular time and place. Alright, here I am at Moet Landing in Temagami. I'm just about to hop in my canoe. Extremely gusty conditions, likely about 50 kilometers an hour. Luckily, I don't have too far to go, and I'm not really going on any open water today. So wish me luck. Let the adventure begin. Well, this is the first paddle of the year. It's quite nice. Fortunately, not the most favorable conditions. Gusting winds about 50 kilometers an hour. I have a little bit of a bay to cross. Won't be too much in the open water, but it's going to be a little sketchy. Here we go. Okay, that was pretty hairy. I had about 300 meters to cross. Kind of trying to time myself in between gusts of wind. I managed to get across, no problem. It was a little dicey, it was a race for time. It's a matter of moment or chance. The wind gusts up, it's no good. At the Madawaska Dam. It was about a 500 meter paddle, or maybe a kilometer or so, I'm not too sure, to this place. And it looks like the winds are pretty gusty here, so I'm going to wait it out for a little bit. I have likely about 7 or 8 kilometers of paddling to do in this 50 kilometer an hour gust. Not looking forward to it, but it is a headwind, which can be good and bad. Of course, it's going to be quite the struggle, but at least you don't have any side waves coming on, and that's what we have to avoid completely. So I'm going to just wait a couple minutes here. I don't think the wind is going to be going down anytime soon, so we'll see what happens. I just need to make it across to the far shore over here. Okay, got my camp all set up, set in. My bug net, excuse the wind noise here. Really windy. And it's cold. It's likely about 4 or 5 degrees right now, with gusting winds of 30 to 50 kilometers an hour. But I'm relatively keeping warm, which is good. I have a steak on the barbie right now, so to speak, along with some rice. All right, all packed up and ready to go. I camped last night got to the campsite about 5 p.m. Just in the nick of time. The winds were getting pretty fierce at that time. It was a windy night all night long, but the tarp held together, no problem. The bug shelter. I was so tired, I just wanted to set up camp and do all my camp chores and have a nice steak dinner and get to bed. I still didn't get to bed till about 11 o'clock, but I had a great sleep. It's a cold day. It's likely about 3 degrees. I've seen a little bit of some snowflakes earlier on, which is better than rain, I suppose. So I'm going to try and get, I might not make it as far as the first set of falls, but I'm going to try and make it to the other side of Lady Evan Lake for sure, and then park for the night and get a nice early start on my falls hopping tomorrow. Well, what a day it's been so far paddling in a very strong headwind. I've been paddling only for about 4.5 hours, but it seems like it's been 8 hours. Either way, I'm at Obasaga Narrows right now. I'm like about 3/4 to my destination point, which is somewhere on Sucker Gut Lake. Likely another 5K or 6K to go yet. It's about 4:30 p.m. and want to at least be paddling till 5:30 or 6, and then get camp ready. I recently purchased a bear barrel, and things things changed a little bit with that. One is you don't have to worry about the small creatures like the squirrels and the chipmunks and the raccoons. So you still have to worry about bears, and they will get into it either way. But you want to deter them from doing that. Now, hanging isn't always effective because bears can climb trees. I've seen a bear traverse across a rope hanging from one tree to the other, so I don't find there's any real point of hanging your food in protection of bears. What I have here is a tripwire system. I have a perimeter all around my barrel, and if any bear tries to get it, then it's going to send off an audible alarm. So I'm not hurting any animals here. So I do tie my barrel to a tree. That way, if a bear tries to drag it off, it's going to have a hard time doing it. I'm not too worried about the squirrels or the raccoons muscling it back home with them. Well, that concludes night number 2 here in Temagami. Last night was chilly. It was likely about 2 degrees, but there was no wind, which made it way more enjoyable and tolerable. On my way out, I have my canoe pretty much all packed up, ready to go. I'm just going to take a final look at the map, see where I am, see where I need to go. I believe my first portage is Frank's Falls. Should be there in a couple hours. Well, finally, it seems that Lady Luck is on my side. I am on my 3rd day en route in Temagami, Lady Evelyn Smooth Water. I've had a pretty serious headwind the last 2 days, so I'm pretty happy to receive a little bit of a tailwind on Tucker Gut Lake. I'm going to be soon heading into Lady Evelyn River, and I'll be looking forward to that. I believe there's a series of 5 waterfalls. So this is kind of why I chose this route. Okay, I'm about to go up the golden staircase here at Center Falls, and it's a rock climb with a canoe and a pack. I made a couple trips on this one just because I don't want to die, or I don't want to wreck my canoe because I'm only a 3rd into the trip, and that won't be very good. All right, this is Center Falls, aka Golden Staircase. Well, that certainly was interesting. That is the Golden Staircase done. Nothing is really easy here in Temagami, especially on this route. Even the put-ins and the takeouts are a struggle. And this is no Algonquin for sure. You just have to jostle on the rocks and hop and skip while you load your stuff on the canoe. It's trying to get away from me. On the canoe. And it's a balancing act. About 100 meters that way. Got all my gear over, now it's just time for the canoe. Here we go. Yeah. Portage over Helen Falls. My goodness, here we go. While the portages were generally clear of obstacles, there were certainly many challenges with every stride. Whether it was unsure footing, ascending and descending around waterfalls, or simply navigating through the unclear pathways. It was no comparison to a leisurely walk in the park. Alright, water level is really low here. This is my portage. I had to get out in the river here and a little bit of a boulder hop for a few meters. But a lot of these places are hard to get out of the canoe, in and out of the canoe. This is Temagami for you. What an adventure. Well, that's one for the record books. Covered a couple sets of falls today. Helen Falls and Central Falls. They were both pretty brutal, the portage. Great scenery, but they were hard on the body. The body took a beating. No injuries though, which is good. Just sore muscles all over. You have to be cognizant of all the steps every time you step foot. Each one could be a disaster if you're not paying attention. I was really starting to wear out near the end of the day, and I figured it was time to call her quits, so I found the nearest campsite at about 5:30 again. And it's not too bad. Bugs are starting to come out now that the warmer temperatures are coming. But I guess that's part of the deal. I'm about likely halfway, maybe more. I think I'm more. I'm not too sure. Tomorrow I'm tackling 2 waterfalls, which is going to be brutal portaging. I just know it. That's the way the story's been going so far. The mosquitoes are out here. And looking forward to the scenery. Not looking forward to the trek and the hard work. I don't mind a little hard work, but this is brutal. But I'm not complaining. This is what I signed up for. Well, decent campsite here, just off the portage going into Catherine Lake. I have a small little jaunt, literally about 100 yards, where my other portage is. And from that point, I will be going down the river. And I'll be hitting a couple portages there before I get to Cabin Falls. And that's where Hap Wilson is. He's an author, Canadian author, and he was part of an activist group to help save Temagami. I think it was back in the 70s. Don't quote me, but I believe it was in the 70s. Anyway, he's kind of legendary in this area. I may or may not see him. Who knows? Guess we'll just have to see. Oh, looks like we have someone here. Coincidentally, it was Hap Wilson. Little did I know the importance of meeting Hap Wilson by sheer luck at that particular time and place. Okay, what a treat that was. Met the legendary Hap Wilson. He was doing some transferring of some equipment. He's building a new cabin. Just met up with Hap again. This is drop-off point where he's dropping some supplies off to go up further the trail. They're going back to get another load from where they are. I'm gonna help them out a little bit, carry some of this stuff while I can. I know that many hands make work light. This is where Hap Wilson and John, his fellow that's helping them, this is where they will continue on, I believe, to their cabin. So they have to shuttle stuff from one end of the portage to the portage, and then load the stuff in the canoes, and then into the cabin. So it's a lot of labor. So at least I could help them with 3 loads just to help lighten their load a little bit. That's load number 3, Hap. That's 3 drinks. Cheers, brother. Behind me is Hap Wilson's cabin. This is Cabin Falls here. So normally the guests would go here. This is where his dock is. For the canoeists, across the river here. So I'll be scooting my way over that way. All right, not that the camera's gonna do it any justice, but this is what I am portaging down. Another one down. At Hap Wilson's cabin. He was kind enough to invite me over for a couple bourbons, which is quite kind of him. I'm just walking the grounds, just exploring it, checking it out, see what's going on, getting the lay of the land. It's a pretty nice place here. I guess he holds some white water courses a few times a year anyways. Just caught a few drone shots, which is nice. With his permission, of course. I always try and do that whenever I'm on someone's property, for sure. All right, well, this is the morning of day 6 here at Bridalveil Falls. Just finishing up my breakfast, a little coffee and oatmeal, and I will be on my way to the next destination, which is Willow Island, which is about 6 hours travel from here. Well, that was Bridalveil Falls at the very end of it. Good time. And it was at this point is when things started to go sideways. This is a very bad situation. Boat's damaged. I don't know how I'm gonna get this out. We'll see. Okay. Little update. I was able to cover all my stuff. Some stuff downstream. The big thing is, of course, my food, my gear. This is broke. The second one is badly damaged. Big bend right here. I'm so grateful it didn't fold and crack altogether. Otherwise, that would have been game over for me. I'll try and do it the best that I can for repairs, duct tape, cordage, and try and make my way home within reasonable time. I have 4 or 5 days. A couple portages. The big thing too, I did recover my yoke, which makes portaging a hell of a lot easier. But I made a critical error. I didn't scout the rapids. I don't know why I didn't. It just looked like it was a small little wee swift. Apparently, the water levels are so low. There's a little more rocks that were exposed, and I got hung up on one. This is right after the portage, so I figured, okay, it can't be so bad. But critical error, and the last one I'm going to make like that for sure. It's not only an expensive one, but it's a costly one with time and money, and I still have to make it home yet, which I have a lot of water to cover and a lot of ground to travel as well. But I'm grateful that I did get the canoe unpinned. It was looking pretty doubtful there for a second, but I managed to do it. All right, I gotta get to work. All right, well, I got my boat repaired the best as I can. I duct taped these on, the braces. I hope she'll hold. It seems like it should be water float worthy. I hope so. So change of plans, obviously. I was gonna go as far as Willow Island tonight. That's obviously not happening. I'm almost at the portage of Fat Man's Falls, and there's a couple campsites there. I'm gonna go and sort myself out. Some clothes got wet, maybe my sleeping bag, I'm not too sure. I haven't opened up the dry bag or the compression sack yet. So I want to give myself lots of time. If they are wet, air dry them out, regather, regroup, think about the mistakes I made, of course, and never do them again, of course. No way, never do them again. I still have to line through this rapids that cost me a great deal today. So I'm still not out of the park yet. It's a pretty shady, rapid, even line. Anyways, I'm glad that I was able to get the boat unpinned. That was the biggest concern. The chances of that happening are slim to none, really, just with the foot-pounds of force of water on that canoe. But I was able to work it, pry it, strain my muscles a little bit. Well, one step at a time, I got the boat out, thank God. Now the show must go on. I have to maybe reroute or maybe continue where I'm going. I don't want to be on the open water for too long. So I just may continue on just a slightly different schedule, maybe a day behind, which I've given myself 3 or 4 grace days anyways. All right, let's get this going.
Ahead was the challenge of navigating down the remainder of the rapids by lining the canoe.
All right, things just went bad again. I'm done. I'm done. This may become a rescue situation now. I do have my food. It's trapped over there, but I'm going to try and fish it out. But there's no way recovering that canoe. There's no way recovering that canoe. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm either going to double back tomorrow to Hap Wilson's. I don't know. Or I may just continue on foot. Either way, it's not good. Not good at all. This is totally a disaster. It's getting late. Sun will be going down in a couple hours. Boat is a write-off. There's no recovery to it. I managed to find a relatively decent spot to hang my hammock and my bug shelter. I have to figure out a game plan for tomorrow. I'm likely gonna hike back with all my gear to Hap Wilson's. It's likely several kilometers. I may have to leave some of my stuff. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure this out tonight and tomorrow. Meanwhile, I gotta get the shelter up. I'm close to the water, which is good. So I have a water source. I have several days worth of food, so I'm okay with that. I just need to figure out how to get back to Haps because it's rough country, very rough country, and I have a lot of gear with me, so I might just have to sacrifice a few things, but I need to bring a day or two worth of food with me if I do go over to Hap's place. All right, I'll sign in later. All right, so far the trek hasn't been too bad considering we're in the boreal forest here. I'm more or less traveling along the waterway, traveling along these rocks here, which can be real ankle breakers if we're not careful. So I have to take extreme caution, be cognizant of every step that I take while hopping along these. But I think it definitely beats getting beat down through the thick forest and the brush and then going up massive elevations. So slow and steady wins the race on this one. Just have to be extremely careful. I can't afford any injuries. That could be life-ending. I definitely want to aim for Bridal Veil Falls, is where I was the last campsite that I stayed before this whole incident happened. Unfortunately, I'm going to be there in very different terms, but I'll be that much closer to Hap Wilson's place, and then there'll be hope that I can get out of here in a couple days. I'm not too sure what's going to happen though. There has to be an availability of a flow plane. All right, time to move on.
After a 4-hour treacherous hike, I was able to make it to my first designated waypoint.
I'm now about 30 meters away from Bridal Veil Falls, which is good news. I made better time than I thought. I avoided most of the thick brush forest, but it was still really tricky to make my way across these rocks. Very brutal. It seemed that you couldn't trust any rock. Even the ones that looked like they were solid, they quite often moved beneath my feet. So I'm very happy that I got through that without injury. Yesterday I had a very close incident. I hit a branch dead on. Another centimeter or two and would have taken my eye out. So I'm grateful for that. And I had to cross the river a couple times with a heavy load on my back, which is very dangerous when it comes to a strong current. So all said and done, the situation that I'm in is not good at all. It could be a lot worse. I have my health. I lost some valuable stuff, of course. I ended up leaving a lot of my stuff where I camped last night, and hopefully I can go with Hap or Andrea or John, who I think is currently still at the cabin. Hopefully they can go with me and pick up my stuff. I'm hoping so. I have to make contact with them as well, which is going to be another challenge. Well, it seems like most of the deer flies, the black flies and mosquitoes have come out. I got brutalized in the arms last night or yesterday at some point. All up there. And of course, all there. Welcome to the north. Well, it is what it is. They're not stinging or hurting or anything like that, so that's good. So unfortunately, at some point, I dropped my little water filter, which isn't good, but luckily in my ditch pouch here, I always carry aqua tabs, which will purify the water. So I'm glad I was prepared in that part anyways. A lot of good things are working out, a lot of bad things aren't, but I'm healthy. I am still alive. That's what counts. Alrighty, going up and over this, you'll be able to see the falls. Obstacle after obstacle, but one at a time. Well, happy to make it to Bridalveil Falls, which is a little bit more than maybe halfway point. This was my initial goal, but I'm going to push on. I have another 4 hours till 6 o'clock. Likely another 7 hours until sunset. So I can always double back here if I need to. Now I know there's a campsite, if I can get to it, right across Hap's cabin up on the hill. So I could get his attention by waving my arms in the air or something along that line. Hopefully, if he's around, he's likely out and about doing stuff. Either way, maybe Andrea will see me, maybe John will see me if he's still there. I don't think that there's any way to cross this place because there is a trail somewhere on the other side. That's what Hap was telling me the other night. But success in one crossing is slim to none, but maybe. And number two, to pick up on that trail, another remote chance. So I'm just gonna push on the way I'm going, see what happens. All right, get her done. Well, the good news is I think I can make it across this river or the end of the lake, cross over to the other side, which is the same side of Hap's cabin. And then hopefully I can walk right up to the residence and not have to flag anyone down, which is good news. Otherwise, if I stuck to this side, there'd be no way to get across unless I got their attention at some point. So things are looking good. Now, if I could count my lucky stars, I would pick up on the trail that's over that way, but I have no idea where it is in conjunction with his cabin. So if I stumble upon it, then that's all the better. But if not, it'll just be tough trekking for the next kilometer or so. But the end is in sight, which is good news. Well, the end of what I need to do today. And then I have to try and get my gear if they agree to do that for me as well, or I'll go with them. Okay, good news. I made it to Cabin Falls. The last kilometer was definitely the most treacherous. In between rock jumping, going into the deep growth with ferns and false bottoms. Surprised I didn't break my femur on that one. I almost did. Just the way I went sunk down to my hip in a false bottom, false floor. So I'm going to talk to Hap and Andrea, see what if they come up with the plan. I'd like to go get my stuff today. It's a pretty quick canoe ride, really, and just a portage away. So hopefully they'll agree to that. And I know Hap has some clients coming up tomorrow on the float plane. So if luck is on my side, I'll be able to hitch a ride with that float plane, which would be much appreciated. All right, I gotta go make a surprise visit. Okay, little update. I'm at Hap's cabin. He lent me a canoe to go get my stuff, so I have one portage to go, which is of course Bridalveil, and then a short little paddle, and then just walk about 300-400 meters to get my stuff, and likely have to do a double carry with that. And then I'll be on my way back here and then camping here from there, which is great news. And we'll be catching a float plane tomorrow morning as planned. So despite the disastrous situation, things are working out a little bit better. Well, I got this beast 16.5 footer down Rhineville Falls without any incident. It's a little bit less maneuverable than the canoe I used to have 24 hours ago. But I'm very happy that Hap was able to lend me this canoe to go get my gear, which is terrific. That's an important thing. I didn't want to leave all that stuff behind. That was some expensive stuff. Alongside with my $5,000 canoe I lost, I didn't need to lose all my gear as well. So I have one more lake to cover and 300-meter walk with gear on the way back, and then paddle back and go up Rhineville Falls portage with gear. This is a great springtime weight loss clinic. This is getting thinner. Okay, back at the emergency campsite from last night to retrieve my gear, which I'm very happy about. Last night there was a lot of uncertainty. I wasn't too sure even if I was able to get to Hap's cabin, and because of the train I didn't know about. I didn't know how to get there by foot. It was pretty tough, but I was able to get there, no problem. Took me several hours, but got there safely. And looks like I'm able to take that float plane out tomorrow, which is good, which is gonna help the whole cost of things big time. I didn't have to call search and rescue. It's more or less an assisted self-rescue, which I guess that's the best case scenario. Now I am minus a canoe, and I likely will be all season now, which is very unfortunate. But I'm gonna order another one. It likely won't be ready until the fall or even next year, just because there's likely a back order with Swift. Either way, I took on a lot of damage to my canoe. Even if I was able to make it out, it would have cost me likely a couple $1,000s to fix at least. So it looks like I'm gonna have to order a brand new Cadillac. Okay, well, I gotta load this gear up, do a double carry, which isn't bad. Then I have to do a quick canoe back to Rhineville Falls, go up Rhineville Falls this time with the beast of a canoe, 16.5 feet long, a little heavier than my former canoe. So I have another hours of work ahead of me, but it sounds like things are gonna work out just fine. And I'll have to get a shuttle from Temagami to Moat's Landing, which is another 40 minutes or so. So the good thing is I'm gonna be home on time. Sorry, I dropped the phone there. So I'm gonna be home on time, which is a big thing. There's not gonna be anyone worried about me. I did tell my parents I was gonna be back by Sunday night. They would have been worried sick if I wasn't. And of course, there is no cell phone service out here, nothing. So I'm very fortunate that I made the right decisions after the incident. I went the right way. I went back to Hap's cabin instead of going the other way, advancing forward, because I likely wouldn't have ran into anyone, and then that would have been it. I would have had to call for help. All right, wrapping things up here at Hap's place. I'm advancing forward with a canoe up towards the pickup point where the float plane is, and Hap and John will be following me likely about a half hour after, because I have a double carry and they'll be moving along and I don't want to hold them up at all. So all in all, it's worked out in the end. I'm able to pick up that flight out back to Temagami, which is great, and I'll have to get a shuttle back to get my vehicle. So this is Hap's dock here. Across the way is where the canoe is. Right up there somewhere. That's where the regular portage is, and that's where the canoe road is. All right, well, we'll fill you in later on. End of my video, my rescue plane coming in.